guys, welcome to another training session, and again a core training session. Now, I told you in one of my last sports videos that I'm about to show you each and every single exercise you can do for your core. At least those exercises I'm capable of doing, because there are 2 or 3 exercises which are extremely hard and need years of training basically in order for you to master them. So I'm not going to go as far, but basically teach you each and everything you can achieve within a month or 2 of training. Now, one of my favorite exercises, especially for the obliques, but for the core in general, is simply grabbing a medicine ball, right? And swinging as if you were simply, dancing, rotating, or trying to throw an uppercut or a hook to the body, right? So also a very good exercise if you're doing it like that for your body, for your core, and for boxing as well. Because you're mimicking sort of the hook to the body or the uppercut, right? So if you don't have a medicine ball, that's absolutely fine, no problem. Then simply grab a plate, right? A plate, and do the same thing. Twist your hips just like that, and if you do it long enough in a row, you will feel it, believe me. Now, the reason why I prefer the medicine ball over the plate are basically 2 reasons. One is, if it falls down, it will, most likely not break the floor. And the second thing is, when I try to hold it in my hands, I need to use all of my fingers, my thumb pad, my forearms, and whatsoever to keep it in my hands. So it's also a perfect grip training while doing a core training session. And you have different varieties on how you can really do this. First is, of course, how extreme you twist your body. If you're simply doing it just like that, well, that's the beginning phase, the beginner's phase. That's not something that will give you that much. What is better is really a full twist to the sides while pivoting on your foot, and then you will really hit the obliques hard. And an even better way to do it, it's not about the speed, by the way. Even better way to do it is to hold your hands, to straighten your hands and do the movement then. Because then it's even harder, because you're twisting more. So by keeping, or by trying to maintain the balance, I need to twist more. I have a bigger range of motion to keep my body on my feet, to keep myself on my feet, right? The problem is, of course, if you're doing it like that, your grip will tire much faster. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start like that, and once I'm not able to hold it here in this position anymore, I will put it back, okay? And nevertheless, try to maintain that big range of motion. That's extremely important. Otherwise, you don't get the whole benefits out of this one. Yeah, that's basically everything I have to tell you for now. I think there's not so much more left. So I would say we simply start and see how it goes. Now, once this becomes then too hard, even holding it tight to my body, even while holding it tight to my body, I will maybe switch then to a plate, but I really prefer this one. And of course, something I haven't shown you is you can also vary the angle. Now it was more horizontally, right, like this, but you can obviously also go up here. Try to mimic the uppercut perfectly. Now, while doing that, it's of course a bit more coordination work to do it switching. So one side and then the other. You could also, of course, do this one, but this one is not so much effective, to be honest. And it has almost no benefit for boxing, because normally you're not able to punch away from way up here to the ground. you shouldn't, you must be at least a foot taller or something, or even more, in order for you to be able to punch from above, like that. So yeah, these are all the variations. I today, because it's my birthday, will do the easiest one, so the horizontal swings, the horizontal twists, and yeah, let's just see how long I can take it. Oh. Never mind, just keep going. Now, there's also one other thing. It's also really heavy on your lower back, but which is okay, because we need it for deadlifting, we need it for shoulder pressing, for barbell rows, and you also need it in boxing. Although boxing is more about the upper back and the shoulders, but you still there need a solid lower back in order for you to take punishment, to stay and stand upright even while you are punched. So it's a great exercise. And you know, it took me a while to get tired from this first set, but once you are tired, you won't be able to do it as long as you did in your very first set. So the decline is very fast from here on out. Maybe we don't need more than 30 minutes this time, or 35, I will see. I keep it genuine. So when I really feel like there's nothing left, I'm going to stop. So that was the exercise I wanted to show you last time when I did the kettlebell session, but my forearms were not really fully recovered, especially on the left side. So I said, do the kettlebell swings first. Oh, amazing exercise. And if you feel like 5 kg is too much, well, guess what? Go get yourself a 4 kg ball, or a 3 or a 2 kg ball, or simply grab any plate you have. But as I said, it's not exactly the same thing with the plate because you have a much easier grip, a much easier hold on it. Here you're really using all your fingers in an open hand position, which is much harder to hold steady in your hands than simply having an edge of the plate and basically pinch gripping it the whole time. Yeah, that's almost everything I have to say. I still feel that I'm able to perform the harder version, so we simply keep going. And it's also good for getting that rusty hip you have a bit more mobile again, so that things like twisting a bit your hip doesn't feel that awkward anymore once you've done it for 30 minutes in this exercise. So especially we men, once we have fat, it usually sits on our hips and at the very front of our abs. And that's a perfect opportunity to get rid of this fat that's at the bottom. Of course, the longer you do it and the heavier the medicine ball is, the harder it is. Also, of course, the bigger it is in diameter, the harder it is. But for this exercise, I wouldn't recommend a medicine ball that is too thick or too big in diameter, because it will limit the range of motion on this exercise, and therefore you won't get anything out of it. So there are those basically, well, I don't know if you can still call them medicine balls, but those very huge balls that you throw at the wall, for example, and they are not fitting for this exercise. They are fitting for other things. And yeah, that's a general training method. That's a good boxer's training method, by the way. But it can be used by anybody who simply wants to get a good grip and, more important, good obliques and a good core. Oh God. Oh. So you see how tiring this is? It's not as tiring as the kettlebell swing per se, but because you can do more of it in a row, it makes you sweat more. So if you already have a good grip, you're obviously a little bit in an advantageous position here. Always the whole range of motion, guys, to get the most out of it. And remember, by shredding the lower fat away, it's helping to create this V-tapered look. So I think 30 minutes is maybe absolutely enough on this one here, because I'm starting to thread through my shirt here. So let's see, how many minutes do we have? The kind of 16 minutes. So now I feel like I'm not able to hold it any longer in the extended position. So I'm going with the easier version. I can definitely say that my cardio has been going up since that snow and ice week we had basically a week ago, and the beginning was even 2 weeks ago. So since then my cardio has been going up, my strengthening and conditioning, and that I had a lot of grip strength and power in general definitely helped me with those 300 times 20 kg kettlebell swings. It's helping me right now here. So when you come from powerlifting or grip sports, getting your cardio right is really the problem. The weights themselves are not a problem, because once you go down or go back to strengthening and conditioning and to bodybuilding, you're using so much lower weights, guys, that you are suddenly to perform 30 reps in a row, which you will never be able to do with extremely high weights. So yeah, powerlifting and grip definitely helps you when it comes to stuff like that. And it's also tiring your calves, because I have to maintain balance, right? So my calves try to stabilize me, so they are worked as well, especially when you are pivoting like that. Oh. but I'm not able to right now anymore. I'm going for the easier version. So you see, now everything starts to cramp again, and that's a good sign. Yeah, so I will show you basically every exercise that you can do for training your core. First, everything I can show you with equipment, and then later on without equipment, so only body weight. So that you guys see that you will never ever need to use an ab machine in your life again. Oh God. Tell me, who's torturing themselves on their birthday? Only me. Yeah. One of my last sets with the ball, and I think I will go then back to the plate just to make it over 30 minutes. One of my last sets here, because it's really starting to get almost impossible with the grip and stuff. Yeah, once you are in the groove, you maybe perform a little bit better than you actually think. I love this exercise so much. Especially the carryover to boxing, when you go back to hooks to the body, for example. Or if you're doing it from down upwards, the carryover to uppercuts is amazing. Now what you can also do, of course, but therefore you need a partner, is to throw it at each other, but not for hurting the other one, simply for activating the muscles, of course. And if you have a rubber, now this is a leather medicine ball, if you have a rubber medicine ball, you can also throw it at a solid wall, of course, let it bounce back to you, throw it with full force again at the wall, and let it bounce back to you again. What you're thereby doing is not only activating the same muscles, but you're going for max punching power. And that's also a great way to increase your punching power. And by the way, you can do this exercise completely with a rubber medicine ball. You don't need the leather one. The rubber one is actually easier to hold because it has a rougher surface than this one here. This leather medicine ball is quite smooth. Yeah, but it's not as hard as the rubber one. So I have a 4 kg rubber medicine ball, but I cannot let this one fall out of my hand. because it would actually break the floor simply because it's too hard. But we will need the rubber mat symbol for another core exercise I'm going to show you. And therefore you desperately need a rubber mat symbol. That cannot be done with a leather one, simply because it has no bouncing properties. So for some of you guys, this seems a bit like Russian twists on the ground. Well, it is sort of a variation of it. It is not actually the same, because when you're doing Russian twists, be it with a weight or without a weight, you're keeping your legs stretched out and steady. So you're only moving your upper body. You're not moving your lower body. In this case, it's different. You're moving both. So it looks familiar or similar to the Russian twists, which I will show you, of course. But it's nothing like it. And especially here, while you are standing and therefore having more force than simply sitting on your butt, you can use really more resistance than in the seated position. So maybe my last one with the ball, and then we go for a final one with the 5 kg plate, and where we really go for our max. So really until the very last rep, where I think like this is it, afterwards it will fall down. And I don't want that, of course. And of course, as with everything, guys, you can do isometrics here as well. Now, if you're focusing on your core, obviously, this isometric doesn't make that much sense. It's more of a chest and shoulder related isometric hold. But doing a hold here at the end of the motion, or on this side, of course, does make sense. So again, think about it to implement some isometrics if you feel it's needed. So that's 29 minutes. Yeah. So now everything starts to tire, of course. My lower back, the obliques, the core, the hands, the forearms. So you see, a lot of core exercises are also always connected with sort of arm strength, especially if you're doing things with resistance. Now there are, of course, exercises that you can do for your core where you simply need arms in order for you to stabilize yourself and nothing more. Where you don't need to move them, but where you have to keep them in a push-up position, for example, for the course or for the duration of the set. And this can be also very tiring. So at the end of the day, core training always needs arm movement in some kind of form. I mean, even if you're able to do toes to the bar, which means you're hanging at a pull-up bar and you're pulling your whole lower body up to your head basically, or to the bar, toes to bar. Even then, you need a strong grip and strong hands and strong arms in general. So there are only very few exercises that do not need arms in any kind of form while doing core training. And I can only think about I mean, even if you're doing sit-ups and crunches, you sort of need the arms. So when you're doing sit-ups, you need them here or here at last. And when you're doing crunches, maybe here. Yeah, maybe not even them. Only 2 exercises maybe that do not require your arms in any way, shape or form. I can only think of 2 right now. Okay, so final set with a 5 kg plate this time. Now here, of course, you can move it much faster because it doesn't have the same volume as the ball, so less resistance against the air. It's all physics. It's all physics, guys. And maybe that's a good finisher, I don't know, I'm trying to. I mean, I'm warmed up, why not do it as fast as I can right now. I'm not fully extending, don't want to risk the fact that I lose the plate. This is maybe a really great finisher actually. So it's also 5 kg here in my hand, but way easier, way easier to hold in any position. Doesn't have the same volume, I get a better grip on it, so less resistance against the air, better grip. Oh yeah. So guys, that's enough for my birthday. I'm tired enough. Guys, when you're doing more strengthening and conditioning sort of in a row, albeit different exercises, it's enormously tiring because you're always hitting your core in different ways, of course, in different areas, but it's still your core. So it's very tiring, but I'm glad I made it so far because I thought I would perform worse, and maybe that's also a nice surprise for you guys that you see a training session that does not need 50 minutes, but only sort of, well, without talking, sort of 25 to 30 minutes. See you the next time.